We're back with another local author, Libby Hubscher, who, in addition to writing romantic dramedies, is a scientist. And Libby's with us today. Welcome to the show, Libby.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, I can't wait to get to know you. In fact, let's start there. Give us a little background.
Great. I live in Apex. I've been in North Carolina now for a very long time. I moved here actually to go to graduate school at NC State.
Did you go to learn to become an author, a writer?
No, actually, I went to study toxicology.
Okay, well, those two are really connected, aren't they? Well, first, this is fascinating. So you're a scientist. Mm-hmm. What exactly do you do?
So now I work in market access consulting, where I work with pharmaceutical and biotech companies, helping to bring new treatments for diseases to patients and ensure that they're reimbursed.
Let me ask you then, so you have this science part of you, mm-hmm. and you're also an author. So are you writing science fiction? What are you doing? What kind of books do you write?
Right, so I write what I call romantic dramedies. So you can think about them as love stories. There's a happy ending, but they're also have a deep emotional journey and sometimes some hard situations in them, as well as funny situations too.
So how do you take this scientist and write these books? I mean, when did you realize, hey, listen, I really would like to be an author and write this kind of stuff? It seems like they conflict, do they?
Well, I think being a scientist requires a lot of creativity, actually. And there is a lot of storytelling in what I do and trying to understand, the burden for patients and what their lives are like and what their needs are. But I actually wanted to be a writer since I was a small child. Like, I've been writing stories my whole life. But I think being an author is something that seems like a dream profession. You see the books on the shelves, but it seems very impossible. And I definitely, for a long time, kind of listened to that. I was sort of trying to go in a practical way, I suppose. And there is a lot of writing in science as well.
Well, I know you. Now, where did you start? Did you start writing these romantic dramedies? Mm-hmm. But I know you also write short stories.
Yeah.
So, and for people who are watching this morning who would love to do what you're doing, kind of fill us in on the process before we begin talking about your books. I mean, how do you even start?
Well, I think, a novel is kind of a daunting thing, but really at the end of the day, you're just writing a story, depending on how long it is. A novel is going to be quite long. A short story is basically a very small novel. So it stands by itself, but it can be as short as, just a couple of pages. And so it was a nice outlet for me while I was writing longer things and trying to get published to write some short stories.
All right. Well, let's talk about your books. How many books have you written?
Let
me rephrase that. How many books have you published?
Yeah, so I have published 2 books, and then I have a third that comes out in June. And
Is that hard to get published? I mean, how hard is that?
I think it's very challenging, but I also think really it's just something that requires a lot of perseverance. Writing is a skill. I think anyone can do it. They can learn and improve by reading a lot and having other people read their work. But I think at the end of the day, you have to be willing to accept failure, rejection, negative feedback, and grow from that. And I think eventually, it's something that's definitely doable for a lot of people.
And then, ta-da, you get your books published. Now, let's talk about your books.
Yeah.
You have 2 out and a third one coming.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about the books that you have.
Okay. Well, my first book, my debut, was called Meet Me in Paradise. And it is the story of an anxious older sister who is essentially tricked into going on a life-changing trip to the island of Saba, where she has to face her fears and finds love. So
does she? Oh, wait, no.
She does.
No, she does. Good.
It's okay. In romance, there is a guaranteed happy ending. I think I like that for it, and I think a lot of readers do too. We can always know that it's nice to know that good news is coming, even when things might be tough in the middle.
And what about book number 2?
So book number 2 is actually set locally, and it is about an advice columnist who, in the wake of infidelity, sort of burns her life down, and a caring firefighter helps her start over.
And number 3, which is coming?
Yes, number 3 comes out in June, and that one is about a former athletic trainer for the Boston Red Sox who has to start over her career at a boarding school in New Hampshire and learns that she is living with 3 men, and one is a music teacher who does not like her at all and is quite grumpy, and she kind of has to reinvent her life and win him over.
And what about you, Libby? I mean, here you are, a scientist and a published author. Where do you go from here? What do you see down the road?
Yeah, well, I love both my jobs, very invested and passionate about both of them. I would like to write more. I think I have a lot of ideas and other books that are in development right now. So I would like to continue doing that for a really long time.
And for folks who would love to read your books, where do we get them?
Yes. So you can really get them anywhere in this area. You know, Quail Ridge is a store that I love, yes, and I do events there. I'll be there in June, actually, with Sarah Grunder-Ruiz. So we'll be meeting in June there, and pretty much anywhere books are sold online as well.
Well, congratulations, and thank you so much for taking time. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, Libby. Hey, and thank you for watching. We hope you've enjoyed today's show. If you have any questions or would like to know more, please visit our websites at RaleighCW.com and myrdctv.com. I'm Bill LeMay. And thank you for watching Community Matters, and we'll see you next week.